The title I'm going to deliver talk is a genuine human development and peace in joy of the gospel. That means I'm going to deal with the joy of the gospel or Evangelli Gaudium in the light of genuine human development or integral human development.
So I will begin with this first slide. आज का जो मौजू है वो फ्रांसिस का ये जो डॉक्यूमेंट है इंजील की खुशी इवेंजेली गौदियम लातीनी ज़बान में वो फ्रांसिस का इस पे होगा और ये मिस्टर पॉल हमें इस डॉक्यूमेंट पे बुनियाद रख के हकीकी तरक्की और हकीकी अमन जो हमें पाक इंजील से मिलता है उस पर बातचीत करेंगे। लेकिन इसकी बुनियाद पोप साहब का दस्तावेज इसको उर्दू में भी तर्जुमा हुआ है, मकबूल पाकिस्तान ने इसे शाया किया है, इस पे बातचीत करेंगे। Over to Paul.
Yeah, I introduce a little bit about the Vatican II, Second Vatican Council, and it's one of it's just the spirit, which is a dialogue. The central theme of Vatican II, among many of you knows already, is a renewal and updating. The updating aggiornamento is which very important and very famous the key words, and dialogue with the word. Father Asi?
ओके, मिस्टर पॉल ने कहा है कि ये जो वेटिकन मजलिस दोम है ये इसकी रोशनी में आज की बातें हैं और खासकर वेटिकन मजलिस दोम के दो बड़े मकसद थे। एक मकसद था तजदीद कलीसिया के अंदर से, दूसरा मकसद था मुकालमा, इस पर हम बाद में बातचीत करेंगे। लेकिन ये जो दो बातें हैं तजदीद और मुकालमा कि बार बार होता रहना चाहिए, बार बार इस बात को लेके हम आगे बढ़ेंगे। और ये जो बात है जो पॉल साहब कह रहे हैं ये से दोम से है। ओवर टू पॉल।
Okay. As you know, Gaudium et Spes is one of most important documents among 16 statements of Vatican II. Over to you.
Yeah. मजलिस दोम वेटिकन मजलिस दोम बहुत मशहूर डॉक्यूमेंट ये लातीनी नाम इसका उर्दू में तर्जुमा दौरे हाजरा की कलीसिया के आजकल में कलीसिया को वक्त के साथ साथ कैसे होना चाहिए, इंसानों की खुशियां, इंसानों की उम्मीदें, मायूसियां और अदम इत्मीनान उसको कैसे आगे चला जा सकता है। तो ये जो 16 डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं वेटिकन मजलिस दोम के जो मकबूल पाकिस्तान ने शाया किया है, आज की बात बेस होगी, याद रखेगी।
Gaudium et Spes for joy and hopes begin with the first paragraph like this: the joys and hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the man of this age, especially those who are poor, in any way afflicted. These are the joys and hopes, the griefs and anxieties of the followers of the Christ. What do you see in this statement, in this paragraph? Which is the really, really important idea, or which covers the whole idea of Vatican II, in my opinion, because here is going beyond dialogue with the word. The church, this is a statement going beyond the idea, the church dialoguing the word, because here the church fathers declare that the church should be united with the word as one.
ये जो जिसकी की कलीसिया गौदियम एक्सप्रेस, ये पहले हिस्से में ही इंसान की दुनिया की हालत जिसमें बसता है और हर दौर के साथ इसके जो ताल्लुकात हैं उसकी बात की गई है कि कैसे इंसानों की खुशियां, उम्मीदें, गम और दुख और रिश्ते जो खासकर गरीबों की हैं या किसी भी लिहाज से जो लोग दुखी है, दबे हैं, कैसे कलीसिया इनसे बातचीत कर सकती है। तो मिस्टर पॉल कह रहे हैं कि उनके मुताबिक मजलिस दोम की सारी जो डॉक्यूमेंट है, 16 दस्तावेजात, वो ये ख्याल रखती हैं जो कुछ में इंसान कलीसिया उससे अलग अपने आप को तन तनहा नहीं रख सकती, उसको इसमें मसरूफ होना चाहिए। ये एक गहरा नुक्ता है वेटिकन मजलिस से दो को समझने के लिए। और ये दौरे हाजरा का नाम है गौदियम एक्सप्रेस। हम अभी तक इसके पस मंजर में ही हैं, अभी हमने वो इंजील की खुशी शुरू नहीं किया। ओवर टू पॉल।
Okay. All right. I'm going to deal with the relationship, faith, and beliefs. When I deal with the on the third week, which is about Gaudite Exultate. But here I just mentioned faith is beliefs is kind of cloth or expression of faith and a part of apostle of faith itself. So which means faith indeed different from belief. Over to you.
Yeah, I was a little bit cut off, but I will try to explain. ये जो दूसरा स्लाइड है, मेरा ईमान और दूसरे लोगों के ईमान जो मेरे इर्द गिर्द रहते हैं उनके साथ मिलजुल कर मुकालमा और खासकर मेरे का जो जिंदगी में इजहार है उसके मुतालिक उन्होंने ये एक मिसाल दी है। कोई मसीही कहता है कि मैं खुदा बाप पर ईमान रखता हूँ और यीशु पर क्या मानी है।
Like I said, I will do this the difference between an or deeper understanding of faith and belief later on the third week. Yeah, this is the joy of the gospel, the papal recommendation and or apostolic recommendation letter. Then what is Evangelli Gaudium? The papal exhortation of Pope Francis, published in 2013. It is a synthesis of the synthesis meaning a combination, whole coming together of the synod on a new evangelization in 2002, initiated by his predecessor, Benedict XVI. It is also a roadmap. The Evangelli Gaudium is regarded for many people as a roadmap for Pope Francis. Simply, his papacy roadmap for his papacy or his what to do during his papacy. The main themes of Pope Francis is church renewal or church reform. One of a major theme. A church not the self-centered, going out to prepararies of poor, marginalized people, for which we are all missionary disciple. This is a one word. It's not a separate one from another. It's not missionary one thing, disciple another. No, it's not the concept. The concept is a missionary disciple, which is a one concept. So that the church, which is poor for the poor and going out to the poor people and marginalized, and especially chapter 4, number 176 to 258 is a good example or summary of Catholic social teachings, or CSTs, Catholic social teachings. I'm going to give you a little bit of content which relate to the Catholic social teaching, or what I said to it up here, which is the summary or some maxim or gist of the Evangelli Gaudium. As you know, Pope Francis very much concerned for the poor. Like he said, protecting poor going together with his criticism of the current economic system. He said, how can it be that it is not a news item when an elderly homeless person dies of exposure, dies of the everywhere, street, and outside, everywhere, not protected by anyone. But it is news when the stock market loses 2 points. He lamented. This is news, but the homeless is dying of exposure, abandoned. But this is not the news. This is a case of exclusion, according to Pope Francis. Those excluded are no longer society's underside or its fringe of its disenfranchises. That no more, it's not just they are not the part of they stay the corner of this society. Rather, they are no longer even a part of the society. The excluded people are not the exploited, explained in the Marxism or socialist theory, but they are the outcast, even left over. There is no place that they belong to, no place that they are going back home. That is the more cruel world now living in. That's idea of Pope Francis. Then what is the alternative to Pope Francis? Integral human development or genuine human development. Pope Francis proposed this integral human development as an alternative to the infinite competition and economic and cultural polarization and exclusion led by neoliberalism or a total open market system, a world in which markets and money have become idols, a culture that uses humans and throws them away like consumables, which we experience every day, right? Those who have money or in power, get everything. We not take it all, takes it all. Winners always takes it all everywhere. Not only Pakistan, not only South Korea, not only India, everywhere. That is the problem about which Pope Francis very much lamented and criticized very much. Linking issue of human development here with the common good and peace. So human development is the another name of peace, according to Pope Paul VI in his encyclical Populorum Progressio, or on human development. This is one of well-known encyclical produced in 1967, right after the Vatican II. Here, Paul VI, and Father Louis Libre, who is a Dominican priest, who very much contributes, to producing Gaudium et Spes. Not only Gaudium et Spes, he is one of the major contributor to development of people, or I just mentioned Populorum Progressio, 1967. Invited by Paul VI. Integral human development is his idea, not Pope's idea, indeed. So, okay, Father Livre applied this methodology, See Judge Act. See Judge Act is the official methodology of Catholic social teaching to human development in Asia, Africa, Latin America after World War II. So maybe it's good for you to read the Populum Progressio or Development of People in the light of those methodologies, see Church Act. Then you get a more clear vision or clear idea of this encyclical. So from the beginning, I told you that I will look at this Evangelli Gaudium or joy of the gospel in the light of human development. But we have series of the church documents on this, series of idea of human development. First, Paul VI, Development of Peoples or Populorum Progressio 1967, in which he pointed out the polemic gap between the North and South already in the 60s. So he urged balanced development of all peoples, all based on colors and based on community based on religion, so on. And followed by the John Paul II, his encyclical on social concern, 1987, 20 years after Populum Progressio released. He stressed spiritual dimension or more dimension should be included in the process of human development. And after 20 years, around 20 years, it was Benedict XVI who said in the Charity in Truth, he focused more on the globalization, ecological crisis, regulation of financial institutes in light of human development. And finally, Francis combined all this tradition of expertise of human development ideas and the suggestion and all good things in the joy of the gospel or Gaudium Evangelii, joy of the gospel, 2013, and also Be Praised 2015, which are both on integral human development and integral ecology. You may have heard this, the word, integral ecology or integral human development. It's just one coin with two sides. This is just one coin. It depends on you or which way you look at first. If you look at first the integral ecology, then you focus more on the some ecological crisis and so on. Then if you look at the other side, we have integral human development there. So without listening to the cry of the poor, you cannot really hear the cry of the earth. The cry of the poor combined together with the cry of the earth. That's the idea. So we could go a little bit deeper about development of peoples 1967 or Populum Progressio. It is not just a question of eliminating hunger and producing poverty. It is not just a question of fighting wretched conditions, tough, though this is an urgent and necessary task. It involves building a human community where a man can live truly human lives, building a human community where liberty is not an idle word, where the needy Lazarus can sit down with the rich man at the same banquet table. Then here we, see now Lazarus in the Bible. So who is the Lazarus? He's a beggar, right? So for him, human development is not, satisfying with the situation where he could be fed by the crumbles of bread falling down from the table, banquet table of a rich man. Then what is the human development, genuine human development for Lazarus, the beggar Lazarus? For beggar Lazarus, genuine human development is for him to get up and walk toward the banquet table and sit down together with the rich people in a very equal way and have a meal together. That's the signifies a symbolizing of liberty, freedom of freedom from liberty from the structural sin or structural poverty. That's the beginning of genuine human development. That's what he said in this encyclical. This is Pope Paul VI. Now I think he's a saint already. Yeah, social concern. After 20 years, Pope Paul II developed this idea, genuine human development, into the realm of spirituality and morality by saying development, which is not only economic, must be development measured and oriented according to the reality, vocation of man seen in his totality, namely according to his interior dimension. Is interior, not exterior. It's interior, including spirituality and morality. You know, he's also becoming, already the sainthood. And Charity in Truth, written by Pope Benedict XVI. He's not yet saint. Even he's not, that. So if I say saint, that means he's already dead. No, he's still alive. In more than 90s. But after around 20 years, indeed 22 years to be exact, he released this encyclical. This is a life in many poor countries is still extremely insecure and have become worse. Contrary to the hopes expressed by the Paul VI, the elimination of world hunger has also, in the global era, become a requirement for safeguarding the peace and the stability of the planet. But after the, Pope VI and Pope John Paul II, Pope Benedict XVI, and also we expected that the poverty in the world hunger will be gone, but it's not the case. It is still there. That's what he said. He said globalization is still, in our world, but it's neither good nor bad. The process of globalization, if badly directed, however, they can lead to an increase in poverty and equality. So he recommends that we have to look at the globalization in a very correct way. Although it is not only bad, it is not only good, but one clear reality is increasing poverty and inequality on the level of global, whole global era. So he focused more on, environmental problem and situation. So at the time we called him Green Pope or something like that. So Pope Benedict XVI, and finally Pope Francis, combining all those ideas together in his papal recommendation. The church renewal, which is not be deferred, which not be stopped. He said, I dream of a missionary impulse capable of transforming everything. Remember, transforming everything. So that the church's customs, way of doing things, times and schedules, language and structures can be suitably channeled for the evangelization of today's world rather than for self-preservation. So he many times focus on church should not be self-centered, navel-gazing church. He only look at his navel, meaning just close the church. He should be open to the word. I prefer a church which is bruised, hurting, and dirty because it has been out on the street, going out to the church, so that you could be or should be dirt with the people's dirt, mingled with the people, rather than a church confined and clinging to its own security. So don't focus much more the security of the church, security of the people, so that you have to go out. That's the idea. So Christ summons the church as she goes her pilgrim way, to the extent that the continual reformation of which church always has a need, insofar as a church is a human institution here on earth. As long as church is the human institution, it should be, it is needed to be reformed and renewed. Without a new life and an authentic evangelical spirit, without the church's fidelity to her own calling, any new structure will soon prove ineffective. From the heart of the gospel, we see the profound connection between evangelization and human development or advancement, which must necessarily find expression and develop in every work of evangelization. Number 178. But here, human development or human advancement should be concretized, should be contextualized according to the concrete situation, like in Pakistan or like in India, like in South Korea, everywhere, should be relevant to the concrete situation where different people or different group or community live. So when Jesus told his disciple, "You yourself give them something to eat," that means working to eliminate the structural causes of poverty and to promote the integral development of the poor, as well as small daily acts of solidarity in meeting the real needs which we encounter. So church, especially under leadership of Pope Francis, he focused much on UN, the role of UN. He very much cooperated with the UN's idea, like MDZ, that stands for Millennium Development Goal. It started 2000 to 2015. It's already finished. Right after that is a continuation. As a continuation, this time we have SDG, representing, standing for the SDG, sustainable development of goal. So Pope, send a Vatican representative to UN, give a Vatican's idea to SDG or MDG, still, deeply involved that the project. So this kind of idea, it's the same with this. All right. Then we can look at his idea of the church, or it's a little bit difficult term, ecclesiology. Ecclesiology is a theory of, on the church. So the thing the church needs most today is the ability to heal wounds and warm the hearts of the faithful. It needs a nearness, proximity, I see the church as a field hospital after battle. His idea of church is like a field hospital at the battlefield. So in which the church as field hospital heal them, heal their wounds, care for them, so on. So it is useless to ask seriously injured person if he has a high cholesterol and about the level of his blood sugars. It's useless. He's dying. You know what should you do? You must do at that time save his life rather than asking his the level of cholesterol or blood sugars. That's his idea. The church which goes forth to the world, especially the poor and marginalized. It's not the church, not a navel gazing, not self-comforting, not clergy centered. The time is very urgent. That's his idea. See, evangelizations for him, for Francis, is it has to do with the integral human development by Pope Paul VI, expressed as a progress as each person and the whole person. So each person, each individual, and the whole person as a whole humanity. You see. So no one can demand that a religion should be relegated to the inner sanctum. Yeah, it's not limited to inner place of a personal life without the influence on the societal and national life. His idea is very clear. You should not make church inside the place, within you, within individual, or within a small group, within a one parish. It's you have to go out of, going beyond the word of the church. A, a closer relationship between evangelization and human progress or human development at the heart of the gospel. Emphasis on the strong bond between accepting messages of salvation and the true brotherhood. Again, the relationship between evangelization and human development. Evangelization is, like I mentioned before, both personal and social, you see, which is a principle of a university intrinsic to the gospel, meaning from the beginning, the idea of gospel is not only for individual, but also the societal. It's a relationship. So when it comes to salvation of Christ, it's not only for individual salvific, the ideas. It is the salvation for the community as a together. I said missionary disciple. This is one word. Mm-hmm. True evangelization, both human development and peace have to be considered. New evangelization, peace is another name, and human development must be realized, especially in our daily lives. So daily lives is different one from another. Your situation and my situation. So peace or human development should not be abstract. It should be concretized according to your situation, according to your context. Otherwise, it's very much vacuum, very much on the air, which is very far from our real life. So Francis criticized neoliberalism like before. So we believe, fundamental principle, like a trickle down theory or a trickle down, economic philosophy. Some people continue to defend this idea, which assume that economic growth encouraged by a free market will inevitably succeed in bringing about greater justice, inclusiveness in the world, but which is not, you know. So he said, it's never confirmed by the facts. It's never confirmed. This trickle down theory is never confirmed. But it's still many people believe, and still what we call experts push this idea and make this idea kind of a representative theory for sustaining this neoliberalism, like this. Trickle down economic theory or trickle down theories like this. When you pour the wine first glass, and then according to theory, it's overflow after the two glasses are finished, and then when it's full of wine and overflow naturally, and then goes to those three the glass of wine below. But this is only theory. Well, the practice, I mean, the reality is different. When you pour the first glass, pour your wine on the first glass, what is make it bigger? And it's not that there's no overflowing. It's just making the first glass bigger and bigger. The same, you see, when you poor people sustain a heavy guy, the believing that one day I'm gonna have full of one glass of the wine and not drink it, as we supposed to do and plan to do, but it's not going to taking place. It's a theory. Just what is the result? The make it that this theory make it the rich and the richer, the poor and the poorer, which means under this neoliberalism led by the current capitalism, the gap between the poor and rich is getting more and polemic, becoming more and more polemic. Meaning, the gap between the two is really extremely far. The father and father never meet. So spillover saying, when you fill some area first, and it's spill over to the extent to the other, spread to the other areas, but it's theory. It's not going to take place as the theory is the goes. No, there is no confirmation of this theory working. But all media and powerful people push this theory. It's kind of not fantasy is going to be realized anytime soon, but it's not. Yeah, it's explanation of this kind of dictatorship. We have new tyranny, like idolatry of money and a dictatorship of impersonal economy, like before. I explained like before. New tyranny is born, which is invisible, open, virtual. The thirst for power and positions knows no limits. That's the situation where we live now. I have tried to make explicit once again the inescapable social dimension of the gospel. See, the social dimension of the gospel, you can look at this deeply. You have to understand this. The nature, intrinsic value of gospel is more focused on the social dimension, not only individual dimension. You see, so that when it comes to salvation, it's not only goes to individual, but it goes to community as a whole. So to encourage all Christians to demonstrate by their words, attitudes, and deeds. It quotes Benedict that the church must not remain on the sideline in fight for justice. We should be frontline, not sideline, not at the back. we have 5 or 4, principle of peace. Time is greater than, space. Time means it's not chronological time, meaning past, present, future. This linear projection of time is our time, human time. But God's kaiological, the God's graceful, grace, the moment is different uh, from our human time. So the time we have quite limited. If you look at only what you see now in front of you, that's you just attached to, the time we are facing. If you don't, if you cannot look at God's time, which is going beyond what we see, then you have a clear limitation. That's the idea. So limitation of time and space in this word is understood mistakenly many times as permanent power or people in power of having a lot of money. That's but our reality. Another principle is a unity prevails over conflict. Of course, there's a lot conflicts every days, right? Yeah, think about your country. Think about my country. Many cases of conflict, but eventually unity wins a conflict. That's the idea. So blessed are the peacemakers. You should be, as Christian, you should be peacemaker, peace builders. That's the idea. How about realities are more than important the idea. Even if I explain in language, ideas, concept, but what is important is not those things. Those things is something very much abstract. But what is important is reality, the things that you face in daily life. So if many, faithfuls don't understand religious readers not clearly, so people do not understand or follow, they should not blame people. You religious leaders, you should not blame people. Rather, you should reflect on whether they are suffered, stopped into pure thought. They are just, when people not buy, don't buy what the religious leaders say, then you have to reflect on this. Why they don't buy it? Why don't understand fully? It's not that they are the one who are blamed. Your language or your the idea, it is not based on rooted on realities, but just vacuum and in the air, which is far from the reality. That's why your language has no power. That's the idea of, according to Francis. Okay, the whole is greater than the part. Of course, you know, the people of God, when it comes to the sense fide, sensus fidelium, meaning the people's faith, according to the one of the great the statements on constitute documents of Vatican II, which is uh, uh, Lumen Gentium. Lumen Gentium means on the church, dogmatic the theory on the church. It's clearly mentioned when the whole people of God believe, very much in a genuine way, there is no error. But it's important from the bishop to the one single lay people come together, but they have shared their dynamics together, then there are no error in their faith. That's the idea. So becoming whole. So when it comes to becoming whole, that does not only means from the bishop to uh, the, uh, the the faithful, I mean lay people. Then what should be included more? Yeah, we have some people from different religious tradition and some other species like animals. How about botany? How about plants? Now, indeed, we should include also those, you know, why not the COVID? Why not this kind of virus, which is part of ours? So this is becoming whole is should be diverse and it should be expanded, like according to FABC, Federation of Bishops Conference of Asia. They provide a threefold dialogue: dialogue with the poor, dialogue with the diverse culture, dialogue with the various religious traditions. Those threefold dialogue also come into involved in those becoming the whole. So in the context of Asia, we have just the really great idea, triple dialogue, also part of this becoming whole. So becoming whole, the concept of becoming whole is huge. Its whole universe come into this idea. Otherwise, yeah, from the perspective of lay people, should be more than broader than this small idea of a church hierarchy. That's the my interpretation of Pope Francis. So the gospel has an intrinsic principle of totality. What do you mean by totality? That is a question. You know, if if you as a lay people, you could have ability to expand the concept of totality or wholeness, then it's the your greatly contribute the expansion of Catholicism. So you have to make your Catholic in Pakistan to be a universal, to be a unique uh, in the light of expanding the idea of the wholeness or totality. All right, it's about dialogue and peace, dialogue with the society and science, of course. Now I'm talking about a little about the universe. It's quantum physics, quantum physics theory, which is a great achievement of the 21st century. We have church has to dialogue with such the great achievement of science. It is one thing, Otherwise, the church is always behind the word. The science is not bad. The problem is the blindness, the belief in science. That is problem, you know. So science and religion go together as a good friend, as a good tool to make the world better, and the work to make the world safer, the work uh, to work and make the world is more meaningful to everyone, each species. Dialogue with other religions. Yeah, I already focus on this. This all this making the world in a peaceful place and harmonious place, and so the justice and peace seeking dialogue is an ethical task. So everywhere is on the level of our daily life. We are we should be encouraged by the church to have a dialogue with your neighbor as a life, dialogue as a life. which is more important. Living harmonious with your neighbor is just itself is a dialogue. You know, of course, Pakistan, as far as I know, is difficult. Because Christianity, Catholicism, in in many countries in Asia is minority, not majority. So we are not the one who initiated this kind of dialogue. You know, if we trying to have this dialogue, we sometimes, many times, blame by saying that you are criticizing us like this. You are making plural ties, or make Christian people, which is not, but they see our gesture that way, so it's quite difficult.